A warm welcome to today's edition of Money Moves. I am Melissa Enoch, and it's Tuesday, September the 9th.
And I am Grace Tagbaragu. We thank you for joining us at this time on the show.
Let's now tee off with your news now in Ethiopia, where Africa's largest hydroelectric dam, the $5 billion Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, was inaugurated earlier today on a tributary of the Nile. The project, which began in 2011, currently produces 750 megawatts with 2 active turbines and is expected to rise to 5,150 megawatts, providing electricity to millions of Ethiopians and allowing for export of surplus power to the region. Let's take a listen.
The fact that you have raised $5 billion without debt, without borrowing, without support from others, makes us believe that indeed Africa can take charge of its own destiny. I want to encourage you, Prime Minister Abiy, as my brother, continue to do what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. And if you are in doubt at any one moment, let me confirm to you, you are doing the right thing.
When we toured the facility in the last few hours, I turned to my brother and I said, this is the ADWA engineering feat. And I say so for those who do not know, including many from my own Caribbean community, that when the international world determined that this project was not to see the light of day, that it was not to receive the financing of companies that like to make money and therefore were usually only interested in repayments, that when that befell the people of Ethiopia, the people stood tall, and the people determined that this project was not beyond them, and that it was going to see the light of day, even if it meant that every person who could give, however small, however large, could do so, and even if it meant that it would take much longer than it would otherwise have taken to build.
The 2025 edition of the biannual Intra-African Trade Fair hit the home run today. Thousands of delegates, exhibitors, and speakers at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair 2025 in Algiers have highlighted the need to focus on key issues that could facilitate regional trade, business, the movement of persons, and more. Frontier Africa Reports Executive Director Bossing Mofaye reports from Algiers.
It's Tuesday, the 9th of September. It's the second to the final day of the Intra-Africa Trade Fair 2025 here in Algiers. It's been quite interesting. All the sessions have been held since Wednesday when it started here. And of course, the takeaway will be how Africa will be able to fix the big things in intra-Africa trade and also fix little things that fast-track intra-Africa trade. For example, visa approvals, air travels, basic ease of doing business across the continent. But in between these big pillars are critical need for funding, knowledge, technical support, all that the continent sovereigns and private sector need to do together to deliver on the Vision 2060 agenda of the African Union. Now, reporting here all the past few days, it's been very clear to me and my team that is needed for Africa to actually work together and clear the basic issues so that the continent can really move the big things around infrastructure, financing, setting up investment, sharing knowledge, and participating in each other's economy. But it's all hopeful from interviews and chats I've had so far. Business executives and policymakers says they want to do more. We're seeing interesting discussions around various business groups and sectors on the continent coming together to explore new ideas, new horizons across sectors and across the frontiers on the African continent, from customs to trade, industry and investment, to the banking and financial services, the use of the capital market to catalyze capital within the African continent, and how to deal with the bigger picture around geopolitics and tariffs that's now becoming the big issue for the continent. They need to come together. And all of these are part of what we've learned so far. But there's still a whole lot more until tomorrow, Wednesday, when the curtain finally draws down on the Intra-Africa Trade Fair 2025. Until tomorrow, when I come back again to you, this is Boston Omofaye for Frontier Africa Reports.
In Ethiopia, the International Finance Corporation has announced a $10 million equivalent local currency loan to Vision Fund Microfinance Institution, the first such investment from an international player in the country's financial sector. The facility is the first tranche of a planned $30 million package, with $20 million from IFC's own account and $10 million mobilized from other investors. At least half of the funds will support women-owned businesses. IFC says the loan is backed by the IDA private sector window, providing scarce and affordable local currency funding to expand credit access for micro, small, and medium enterprises. In Zimbabwe, the Harare Institute of Technology has announced plans to establish a lithium processing plant in a strategic move to position the country within the global battery value chain. Vice Chancellor Dr. Engineer Quentin Kanumkawe has said the project will drive value addition, industrialization, and advance Zimbabwe's beneficiation agenda. The initiative is expected to anchor Zimbabwe's role in the fast-growing green energy economy and cement its position as an emerging battery development powerhouse. In South Africa, the 5th annual Standard Bank Climate Summit opened today in Johannesburg, providing a platform to drive climate action and sustainability across Africa. The forum brings together policymakers, business leaders, and experts to discuss financing solutions and strategies for a low-carbon future. The summit aims to provide green investment, strengthen collaboration, and support Africa's transition to resilient and sustainable economies.
In the context of climate policy specifically, exclusion and inequality slow down the transition in the global south and create intense and effective resistance to transition in the developed world. In other words, recent political changes have taught us in a very emphatic way that there can't be a sustainable transition unless it is also a just one. To be frank, over the past decade, I've often felt that the term just transition was treated in climate discourse as no more than a pious aspiration, or as if the transition would automatically be just because it would secure the long-term future of our planet. Please don't get me wrong. Here at Standard Bank, we are as convinced as ever of the necessity for the transition towards the low-carbon economy. But in order to make sure that this transition actually happens, we at Standard Bank believe that we all have to focus very intently on making sure that the transition is really just, that it is fair, inclusive, and visibly beneficial for all.
Finally, on News Now, South Africa's economy expanded by 0.8% in the second quarter of 2025, its fastest pace in 2 years, according to Statistics South Africa. The figure beat economists' forecast of 0.5% and marked a sharp recovery from 0.1% growth in the first quarter. 8 of 10 sectors, including mining and agriculture, posted higher output, while household consumption picked up on the back of interest rate cuts. Analysts, however, warned that declining gross fixed capital formation remains a risk, with much higher investment needed to lift GDP growth beyond the sub-1% average of the past decade. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now. Our Market Rounds returns after the break with Grace at the Archives Room. Stick around.
This annual gathering represents not just a meeting of minds, but a powerful platform for important debate on the future of our continent. A future where energy security and sustainability are within reach.
African countries account for almost 20% of the global population, but only for 4% of the world's total energy investment. Now, this imbalance should be ringing an alarm bell for all of us.
Our priority must continue to be to end energy poverty for all Africans, as well as create an enabling environment where the oil and gas industry can thrive, be beneficial for local content, as well as be responsible with the environment.
Visit www.aecweek.com to register today. The African Energy Week, it's more than just a conference.
Welcome back to Money Moves. Let's now go over to Grace for today's markets rounds. Hello there, Grace.
Thank you, Melissa. Now let's track today's markets, beginning with equities. Here in Nigeria, the NGX All-Share Index closed at the positive, up 0.29%. The BROVM in Abidjan dipped 0.42%, while the EGX closed on the negative, down 0.62%. Morocco's MASI was down 0.64%, while in South Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange gained 0.58%. Let's do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The Rand is 0.09% to 17.51 Rand per dollar, while the Egyptian Pound weakened 0.41%. The CFA franc was firmer, up 0.08%, and the Kenyan shilling gained 0.02%. Meanwhile, the Moroccan dirham slipped 0.02%, and the naira inched higher, up 0.07% to 1,506 naira 49 kobo at the official window. Let's switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Brent crude rose 1.51% to $67 per barrel, while US WTI also gained 1.54%. Natural gas jumped 0.68%, and Arabian gasoline added 2.19% as of 13:28 GMT. Finally, two soft prices. Cocoa gained 2.28% as coffee slipped 0.26%. Cotton edged up 0.32%, while palm oil rose 0.09%. Sugar inched higher by 0.62% to $16.36 as at 13:31 GMT. And that's our Money Moves markets today. Back to you, Melissa.
Thank you very much, Grace, for those market updates. And that's it for today's edition of Money Moves. From all of us here at the FMDQ studios, we say thank you for watching and bye for now.